to the Coach Bryan Moore Show. I'm your host, Margaret Ann Praytor, alongside Coach Bryan Moore. And this show is going to air every week. We'll drop it on YouTube, Facebook, and the NFHS Network every Wednesday. Also, please stay tuned on Friday nights to the NFHS Network for a live broadcast of our ball games. And if you'd like to hear radio only, that's www.hartsellefootball.com. But before we begin, I'd like to thank our sponsors. You have Eddie Pruitt Ford, Bentley's at the Outhouse, Life Church, and Corum's Building and Farm Center. I'm here with Coach Bryan Moore, and Coach, I have so many questions this week. It looks like 27 minutes was all it took, not 48, just 27, for you to put on a football clinic against Muscle Shoals.
Last week. It's a lot more fun show here. But yeah, I mean, it was a good night for us. I mean, something that we've been looking for. You know, it's hard to find. We you know, weren't perfect, obviously. We're down 9-0 in the game, and they put together some drives, and we had two big turnovers, and you know, that we didn't feel very good about. But ultimately, our kids fought, played hard. We ran the ball finally, and when we do that, you can see what can happen.
I got questions about that coming up. A few weeks ago, we talked about this 3-week stretch being your gauntlet. You end up 2-1.
Yeah.
How you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we didn't want to lose the Athens game, but you know, you got to be proud of our kids. I mean, it's a tough stretch. We play a hard schedule here. If you look at our games, there have been very few gimmies, and we've had to fight and claw, and we're improving at the right time. I mean, I think our team is still headed up. I mentioned to the coaches at our Sunday staff meeting, this is one of those years I wish we played 20 games. You know, we just need to keep playing because we are improving, and because even our seniors, like Eli, the player of the game, I mean, even he is not very experienced in football. I mean, this is just his second year playing, first with us. So we've got a lot of inexperience, a lot of new faces. When I go into a team meeting, there are over 50 guys that didn't play for Hartselle High School last year. And that's incredible.
Yeah.
And so we're gelling at the right time, and you know, we've got to finish strong. 2 huge region games coming up, but again, Muscle Shoals was a huge shot in the arm for our program.
That was great. Number 10 in the state. Let's look at some statistics. Running game came alive. You just mentioned that. Rye Fletcher was a standout. He came on hard, 122 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, it's probably a question that most people would have is why has Rye not been getting it more? Well, because he's growing up. You know, he's finally to a point where he can handle it physically. You know, he's 15 years old. You know, he's a 9th grader, and he's coming along, and his ball security is better, and it's a level of trust. And you know, now he's executing at practice and doing all the little things he needs to do, and he's becoming more of a patient runner. You know, in junior high, I mean, last year he was an 8th grade player. It's crazy. You know, he'd take the ball, run around the end. He's faster and better than everybody else, and it was like Bo Jackson's Super Tecmo Bowl. You know, he just is better than everybody, and but that's not the case in high school. You know, you got to do it right. You got to follow blocks, understand where gaps open up. You got to understand pass protection, how to lead block for Parker some at quarterback. You know, and he's starting to do that, and that's why you're seeing more of Rye. And what it's enabled us to do is play Mookie more on defense, and it's helped our football team as a whole.
Well, that's great. We're going to take a quick break. You're watching the Coach Bryan Moore Show.
Hey football fans, we are so excited to have another year of Hartselle football underway. 2020 season is expecting a great year, and we're so excited about Coach Bryan Moore and his family being here. Coach Moore's a great coach, and he's going to lead us to great things right here in Hartselle, but not only this year, but for years to come. Go Tigers!
All right, we're here with our Eddie Pruitt Ford player of the game. I got Mr. Eli Snelson here. Eli, I'm just going to start off with kind of a softball question. I've been told that Hartselle, Hillcrest, where you're transferred from, you transferred here from Hillcrest, that they're very similar. What do you think?
In most ways they are, especially with sports and things. The school definitely is a little smaller, even though we are going like half and half, so I don't see as many people too. It's just I feel like I like it better being a smaller town instead of being in big old Tuscaloosa, but most of the things are the same for real.
Oh, okay. I know you got it on your shirt, but football or baseball?
Definitely baseball, even though it's not as fun, it's like more passive, not as like fast-paced. I think I like baseball a little more.
All right, well, what do you think though? I know you're playing football for a reason, I know you enjoy it, but what skills can you take from football that are gonna help you in the spring with baseball?
It's definitely a different game, more like just physical toughness. That's the biggest part. Baseball is definitely more mental. I feel like most things relate lesson-wise, especially when like losing and stuff like that. You can always, football, 1 game a week. Baseball, it's back-to-back, so you learn a little different ways to do things.
That was an excellent answer. I like that. I've done my research, and I see you like to challenge yourself academically. You got lots of advanced classes. So what do you plan on doing after high school?
I plan on being an engineer somewhere. I don't know, I might go JUCO, get my basics, and then go to like a bigger university and go ahead and get engineering out the way for my major.
That'd be great. You'll be richer than I am. Everyone loves game day, but I've asked every player this, and I'm going to keep on doing it until we get everybody taken care of. What's your favorite part of practice?
Definitely the one-on-one routes with receivers. That's my most favorite thing to do.
And who do you usually match up with?
Isaiah Fletcher.
Okay, well, we thank you so much for taking time. I know you came in after practice to do this, so thanks so much. And this is Eli Snelson, our player of the game. All right, we're back with the Coach Bryan Moore Show. Coach, I'm excited about the personnel changes I saw on offense. JT Blackwood was running the ball, and he was passing it to Parker Sawyer. And I was joking with Coach Lang earlier this week, and I was like, you got some super secret play, like the annexation of Puerto Rico? And, I mean, you got close. I mean, EJ scored a touchdown in a jumbo package. So how much fun was this game plan?
Well, it was fun, you know, and we had some of those wrinkles the week before. Not as many, but when you're able to stay on the field and make first downs, run the football, you're able to get to some of that. You know, it opens that you can trust your guys that, hey, if we throw an interception, we're still okay. Because you are, I mean, you know, EJ, right before he went out there, I said, you know, catch a snap first. You know, make sure you secure the snap and you'll score, you know, and because that's his first time. You know, he played for me for the 2 previous years as well, and he's never been an offensive player. And so that's always a hesitation. But, you know, with our team right now, we're still searching and, again, finding our identity. Like I mentioned, I wish we could play 20 games because we're continuing to find those little things that are beneficial for our program. I mean, JT and Parker make it really tough because Parker's such a good athlete and is so versatile that we can do other things with him. And then JT's a good athlete, too. I mean, you saw he had 3 runs for 40 yards, and they were giving us that, finally a good look for that. And so we started working that, and on a short week, I was a little bit afraid we wouldn't execute that package well, but we did, and that package will continue to grow through the year.
Well, that was fun to watch from a fan standpoint. And you can't forget the offensive line. You know, I see vast improvements there because the running lanes were opening up like crazy. Yeah,
we ran more gap scheme stuff. You know, the play that Rye busted down the sideline that really opened the game up for us and helped us get going was power. And it was just to the short side, and that's something that we absolutely lived on when I was at Jasper running pull schemes with our guards, and you know, we've been more zone oriented, but now we're growing to a point where we can do a little bit more in our run game. You know, we can add a run scheme here or there. You know, we're never going to totally blow it up and run all new things, but you can add a wrinkle here and there that helps you. And another one I want to mention, now the offensive line was great. You know, Floyd McNutt, Mac Harden's playing some tight end. You know, of course, Xander Waddell is doing a great job at fullback, and so, you know, and Caleb Simmons as well. So we're really starting to use a bunch of players. And those guys, all those guys I just mentioned, hadn't played a lot. They're juniors and seniors, but they hadn't played a lot. And so they're gaining the experience that they need, and they're doing the little things right to open those run lanes for Rye.
Well, and going back to that run game, we've been talking about how the passing game has, you know, carried your offense so far through the season. But was it something that Muscle Shoals gave you on defense that helped us with the run game, or was this on us?
Well, you know, we said that last Monday, you know, we were going to put the ball down and have an old school football practice. And we were going, you know, whatever happened with that, if we got a guy banged up here or there, which we don't want to happen, but we just weren't tough enough. And we had to go, and that was my fault. And we had to go back and bang on each other a little bit. And we did that, and you saw the physicality for us that comes out of a week like that. And then I told the coaches Sunday, we're going to do it again. And we did. And we had a practice this morning, and it was really physical and wet out there. And after all the rain we've gotten. So that it was good for us to do that again. But yeah, I mean, I think our toughness had to show up. Muscle Shoals did try and take Trent away, which for the second week he hadn't had a catch. We've got to get him back going. But a lot of that has to do with the scheme, and he understands that. You know, if they're going to play safeties over the top of him and help, and then double cover Isaiah on the other side, you know, you saw a couple of the plays squirted, and the reason they did was because they got no secondary help. You know, those guys are playing the passing game, and we're just walking out on them in the middle of the field. So I thought that was huge for us, and the balance that gives us, I think it'll open up those passing lanes again for us.
Well, and talking about those two guys, Isaiah, the reason why I was grinning so big is I asked him, I said, how's practice going? He said, I've never been this sore. And I said, well, good. And then Trent's that type of personality, though. He understands.
Yeah, and he's willing to do that. You know, Trent's an incredible teammate. So is Zay. I mean, Isaiah didn't have but, you know, 3 catches in the game, which he's averaging 5 or 6 a game at least. And they were late, but he still blocked and fought. Eli Tidwell, the same thing, because those guys just want to win, man. That's what it's about. It's not about the individual stats. It's about us doing it together and finding a way to win.
And you 12% rule, we're at 12.7%, right on the money.
Yeah, we were better. The 2 turnovers hurt us in that. We still didn't snap it a whole lot. I think snapped it 45 or 47 times. You know, we want to snap it over 60, 65 times. But we scored on a lot of 1- and 2-play drives. We had a lot of big plays in the game, and we averaged over 10 yards a play, which is incredible. Over 12 yards a run, coming from a team that was averaging about 3 or 4 a run. And so, you know, we had some explosive plays in the game. A lot of that had to do with the way that we were moving people around. But I thought it was our best game plan by far, and hopefully that'll continue.
Thanks, Coach. We're going to take a quick break. You're watching the Coach Bryan Moore Show.
Hey, welcome to Bentley's.
I came from the mud. There's dirt on my hands. Strong like a tree. There's roots where I stand. Oh, I've been running from the law. Hope they won't shoot me down soon.
All right, we're back with the Coach Bryan Moore Show. Coach, let's go back to defense. You held number 10 in the state. They're averaging 24 points a game. You held them to 9 points and 300 yards of total offense. I mean, that's pretty good, but compared to what they've been doing, you really shut them down. The majority of that all came in the first half. So you made some sort of adjustments. What happened?
Well, you know, first off, you know, we didn't have Seth, and that hurt us. Dalton Green played really well, though. He's coming along, developing. I mean, I think he started like 4 games this year, 3 or 4, and has played in every game. And so I was really pleased with him. Now, we missed Seth, and we need him back quickly. And then Kelvin went down at the end. But with all, and he'll be back soon. We're fortunate to have both those guys back soon.
I got questions about them.
But you know, I think, you know, again, we're settling into games. You know, we've been a really good second half team. We got to figure out how to start better. But, you know, there were some adjustments, and I think we're giving up. I was looking at the numbers. You know, I've been so impressed with Coach Newton and his staff. I mean, he's got a really, really good staff. Giving up 15 points a game. With all of our youth, that's incredible. You know, our goal is 13 points a game. That's been mine, coaching them. We've never really discussed that. But I've always said, if we can hold a team to 13, we're really good on defense, especially today's age of really good offenses. You know, it's not like everybody's in between the hashes and we're going to run the ball 65 times. It's people flipping the ball around and really explosive. And so for them to do that with that young group has just been really incredible.
And you had 14 different guys record tackles. I mean, that seems like everybody got in on the action. You're playing lots of guys.
Playing lots of guys and getting a lot of production out of Isaac Osteen as he continues to be really good. Caleb Moore as he continues to play a lot of linebacker, play 56 snaps at linebacker on top of about 20 snaps on offense. So we're getting the most out of him. To me, he projects as a college player there. And then Bull, you know, Bull was so good there too. So again, we all of our guys are just hanging in there, being really consistent. We're starting to get the right guys on the field, but we're continuing, as you mentioned, to sub and get guys in the game to develop for the future.
Well, and let's talk about, you know, we've had several guys step up, like you said, but let's talk about our area forward player of the game. It's going to be Eli Snelson. He's been solid all season. I talked to him. We record the interview usually with the player before I talk to you. But Thursday night he had 6 tackles, a fumble recovery, 3 broken up passes, and one of those he tipped that Dominic Simmons caught and took him for a touchdown. And then he blocked the PAT in the beginning, in the first half. I mean,
well,
wow.
He's the kind of guy that wants to be in the action. For whatever, you know, he wants to, you know, make tackles and he wants to do. But a lot of times, and I fight this with him, he gets bored out there because they don't throw at him a whole lot. He's a really good cover corner, and when you're a good cover corner, they just say, heck with that side of the field, man, I'm going to work the other side. And but we were able to get him in some roll coverage. He had a big play on a couple bubbles, the tip ball. He really has done a good job for our team, and this is a guy that didn't join our team till August, that has continued to improve. He's a great athlete, obviously a really smart, well-spoken young man that's going to be really successful, but he has been a huge addition to our program.
Well, I'm excited about his future, as well as a lot of the guys on the team. New faces, you just talked about Mookie at linebacker, and then Coleman Mizell coming in at the spur position. Let's talk about what the spur does, because when I talked to Coleman, he basically said he can be a defensive lineman, a linebacker, or a safety all at the same time. So can you tell people
it's a lot of versatility. We blitz that guy. That's kind of what he means as a D lineman. I mean, he's not going to walk down there and get in a three-point stance, but he may walk down on the edge, and primarily he's an edge setter, right? So he's the field guy, and he is so dynamic and so athletic that one time he's moving to his right and then just sticks his foot to the ground. I guess why he's bullfrog, right? Jumps back inside to tip a ball, and he's doing things physically that most people can't do. He may be the best athlete in the school, literally. Wow. And he's a 6'2", 210-pound athlete too. That, he doesn't know how to tackle. I mean, he had 11 tackles. Most of them were like wrangling guys to the ground and holding on for dear life. He doesn't know how to go and strike a guy yet, but he will. And once he does that, he has potential to be a college player there. Now, again, he's going to Alabama to play baseball, but who knows what he's going to be in football, because he's just 15 years. He can't drive a car yet. So he was a big addition to us at that position. He also plays safety, where he slides back in a nickel kind of coverage that we run, and plays that third of the field. So he does a lot for us. He's very versatile.
Well, that's great to see. We're going to take a quick break. You're watching the Coach Bryan Moore Show.
I'm Ray Lampe, Dr. Barbecue, and I'm here to tell you about the Big Green Egg, the ultimate cooking experience. The versatility of the Big Green Egg is unmatched. It delivers big results as a grill, a smoker, and even an outdoor oven. Grill burgers, kebabs, steaks at 800 degrees, slow smoke a perfect slab of ribs, and even bake a crispy pizza. When the doctor cooks, I demand the best, and that's why I cook on the Big Green Egg, the ultimate cooking experience.
We're back with the Coach Bryan Moore Show. Coach, let's talk about injuries. We want to know about Kelvin and Seth. How are they doing? What's their prognosis?
Seth will be back soon. It's his knee. It's very minor. And, we're very fortunate it's not a ligament. And that's the first thing I ask is, is it loose? Is it a ligament? And we're hoping to have him back Friday. He's progressing well. And Kelvin is an ankle. Thank goodness. Same deal. I thought it was his knee when I went out there, and when he grabbed his ankle, that's a lot more. That's better. I mean, it's not great, but it is better than that knee. And so he's in a boot, but he'll be back soon. He's possibility of playing Friday too. It just his body probably responds to mine, better than mine. So he may be back, but we need those guys pretty badly. And then Peyton Steele's getting close too. We need Peyton back. But this time of year, everybody's got it. You look on the opponent's sideline, they got 5 guys over there just jerseys. And so we're going through a little bit of that right now, especially without a bye week.
Right. Well, and you'll have that. You make the playoffs. And one thing I noticed, though, in the second half is how much fun these guys were having. It almost seemed like there was just a light switch flipped. They lost all their reservations, just started playing without fear.
Yeah, well, and that's the deal. Just turn it loose, man, and enjoy your time together. I'm not a big, probably to a fault, rah-rah speech guy. I just think it's business, and we need to handle it the right way. But I did tell those seniors, said, look, man, you're not guaranteed another one here. And I know this stadium means something to you, and it's your last one guaranteed at home. We still have an opportunity to host a playoff game, but this is your last one that you know of, and so you better go out and leave something. I mean, what's your legacy going to be? And those guys really went out and competed, and we did. It was a lot of fun in the second half. I mean, big plays and defensive stops and turnovers, and we just turned it on. One thing about our team, and this has not been different all year, one thing that we've done really well is a field position battle, and sometimes when you get people inside the 20, we had, I think, 2 or 3 kickoffs that they returned that we didn't kick in the end zone. Well, we tackled them inside the 20 every time. So that their average starting field position was the 16-yard line. And when that happens, you start to suffocate people, and they're punting to midfield, and then Eli Tidwell has a big return, then Parker scores first play of the next drive. That's when you start to roll, and that's what happened Friday.
Well, it was fun to watch, I'll tell you that. Another question, playoff scenarios. Let's go over.
Yeah.
Let's look at that logarithm.
Yeah, man.
What are we doing? What's going on?
Well, years ago, it's 2009. We had a three-way tie the same way at Opelika, and it was a three-way tie for third, and we were left out. So the way it works is they take your opponent win. So basically, like because we beat Russell, that was a huge win for us because we can count that. So if there's a possibility that there's a three-way tie, a lot still got to happen. I mean, Coleman still plays Athens and Muscle Shoals. I mean, there's still a lot left. But if everything were to stay the same, we would still have an opportunity to be second. And for this team but ultimately we got to handle business. We got to go and play well at Hazel Green. Got to play well at Buckhorn. Both long trips that we need to go play well. On those fields and just let the chips fall. I mean, we've tried I have not talked about that at all with the kids. The only thing I've said is we can still host. There's still so much to play for us. And regardless, I mean, we match up with Mountain Brooks region and those guys and. So it's exciting. It's exciting to even be in this conversation after a 1-2 start, to be honest with you.
You're right. And let's look forward to next Friday. We face Hazel Green. It's going to be one of the two long trips. Yeah. And I thought it was further than Buckhorn, but I Google mapped it. One is 47 miles, one's 47.8. Yeah. So, I mean, and you're traveling long. What kind of things are you preparing for here?
It'll look a lot like Russellville. We'll charter buses there. That's uncommon. For me, I'm not used to doing that inside of an hour, usually up to about 90 minutes. We'll ride on a regular school bus. But the thing about it is again, the social distancing. We've talked about that on the show. It has to weigh in, and you have to protect your kids in case you have a case. So that you can truly social distance. And so we can't stop at a restaurant. We talked about that too. No one can accommodate 120 people right now with capacity limitations. So we're gonna, we'll cater the trip and have Subway on the way and that sort of thing. And but again, we've been good on the road. We've not had any issues on the road. Both Russellville and Decatur were big games, big wins on the road. And so I feel that we'll be fine as far as how we go and handle the trip. I think that'll be fine.
All right, we're going to take the last break. You're watching the Coach Bryan Moore Show.
Hey Hartselle, I'm Liv Oster, and this is what's happening at Hartselle High School. So this week was testing week, which means we took some ACTs, we took some work keys, the seniors did. It's also exciting because this Tuesday, Mr. Cooper changed to Dr. Cooper. He got his doctorate on Tuesday, which is very exciting. Now that we're a few weeks into school, a bunch of clubs are just now starting to get going, and they're getting their agendas for the year. So I wanted to talk to some of those presidents to help you get more information on how Hartselle students can get involved in these different clubs. First, I spoke with NHS President Cameron Kirby.
Our main goal this year is to get our members more involved. Members can sign up on the interview in Google Classroom, and they can make sure they show up to our meetings and our volunteer opportunities.
Even though NHS is an honor society, members are required to have a certain number of service hours, so NHS is very involved in the community. And NHS is already getting involved. A few weekends ago, some members volunteered at an event at LifeWorks Physical Therapy. Then I spoke with the new FCA president, Addison Mote. There hasn't been an active FCA chapter in Hartselle in 5 years. So this is a very exciting opportunity for people to get involved in.
My plans are just to have fun and have a successful huddle, praying that God will just move through me and through everyone else on the leadership team, and that He can do His work through us and that He gets all the glory for it. And we're just there being messengers for Him.
What I thought was also interesting about FCA is that you don't have to be an athlete. They want anyone to join at their first huddle.
My goals are to share Christ with teachers and students and almost anybody who would come to the huddles. By doing that, having godly relationships with them and just being a godly influence in front of them. We will meet on October 15th and October 16th. We meet at 7:45 outside the cafeteria at the picnic tables.
Then I spoke with the DECA president, Maggie Guys. What I thought was interesting about DECA is that you don't have to be part of the business classes like I'd always thought. Anyone can join and they would love to have you.
DECA is the business academy. You have the option to compete or not. We have about 10 to 15 of us that usually compete. There's all different kinds of categories you can do. Our plans are a little different this year because of COVID. We usually go to DECA State and DECA Nationals to compete, but we're still hoping to do that if that's still happening. And we always do our dog food drive for the local animal shelters. You can go talk to Ms. Praytor about it, and you can sign up on My School Bucks.
I spoke with the SAD president, Hallie Bone. Hallie's been involved in SAD the past 4 years, so she's super excited to be able to implement a bunch of her ideas during the school year. One of the biggest events is the Red Ribbon Pep Rally, but the organization will not be able to do that this year, so instead, SAD members will be greeting kindergartner through 8th grade students. Kindergarten through 8th grade students when they arrive at school that week. Those were just a couple clubs out of the tons that are available at Hartselle High School. Whatever you're involved in, there's a club for you, so make sure to be looking out for all of those announcements, be listening to the morning announcements, or check your Google Classrooms for more information, and check that little morning announcement Google spreadsheet for information on how to sign up for clubs. I'm Eli Foster, and that's what's happening at Hartselle High School.
All right, and we're back here with Coach Bryan Moore. I'm Margaret Ann Praytor. Coach, Hazel Green's managed to score 13 points against 5 region opponents. That's 13 total. You'd mentioned they had an offensive scheme similar to May Jemison. Was that right? Any defensive adjustments you're going to have to do to prepare for them?
Well, they've kind of been all over the map, really, offensively. We saw them against May Jemison, and they were in heavy sets. And now they're spreading it out a little bit more. I think they're searching. And that's scary, actually, because you just don't know what you're going to get, you know. And so we're having to prepare for a lot. Coach Shrink does a good job. He's a good football coach. He was at Faultville and has won a lot of games. And that program will get going. They, early they beat May Jemison by 2 scores, and I was like, golly, this is a much improved Hazel Green team. And they struggled a little bit as of late. But again, it's I think it's their senior night, and that means something, just like it did to our kids last week with Muscle Shoals. And so we'll have to really go and play well.
And now for our Eddie Pruitt Ford fan question of the week. The little chairs during timeouts, what are they for?
Yeah. That Miss Dana, I got to call her. I love her. She's great. What we've done, so because of, actually my wife asked me that and a couple people have. So if you watched a basketball game, right, they bring the chairs out so the coach can talk to them. Well, because of COVID, we have extended timeouts. And so within a game, both teams get 6 total timeouts, 3 a half. So they could possibly be 12 total timeouts in a game. Well, now they're 2-minute timeouts. So when we bring those stools out, that's because there could be 20-plus minutes of kids off their feet. And when you do cramping and you look at all those kinds of things and how many reps a guy like Caleb Moore's having to play, getting him off his feet for 20 extra minutes is crucial to us. And nobody else is doing it, and it may look a little bit silly, and that's okay, but we need to get off our feet. And that is how we played into it. We started talking about playing some guys both ways, and when we played Austin is when we started doing it. It was hot. And so the point is to get them off their feet, and we've had 0 cramping, but I think because of it.
That's great. It's going to be 39 Friday.
We may not have any cramping issues.
You may not need it. Thank you so much for your time. You've been watching the Coach Bryan Moore Show. We'll be back next week. This week in Hartselle High School athletics, fall seasons are starting to wind up, so we're not going to have a lot of activities. First off, Friday, October the 16th. This is fall break when we're filming this, so this is the only event this week. Football is going to travel to Hazel Green. Volleyball is going to host a sub-region match here at the high school. Wednesday, October 21st will be our next event. That date through the 23rd is when your Lady Tigers are going to be going to Huntsville for regional volleyball tournament action. Don't forget 7th and 8th grade basketball season. Yes, I said basketball season is going to start on October 22nd. So go support all your Hartselle athletes.
Hey football fans, we are so excited to have another year of Hartselle football underway. 2020 season is expecting a great year, and we're so excited about Coach Bryan Moore and his family being here. Coach Moore's a great coach, and he's going to lead us to great things right here in Hartselle, but not only this year, but for years to come. Go Tigers!